Hey, Randy's going to give us some fire today. And then for our next stop at the 210 call, we're going to have another guest doing Brent's sales call. And Randy, take it away.
I appreciate you, Rob, very much. I appreciate you. And if you don't know where this shirt came from, take a close look. What's it look like? It looks like it came from, what's that say right there? Does that say Kapalua, Hawaii? I won this off Brent last year in Maui, and I couldn't make it this year. We had babies and all kinds of stuff going on, but I'm super excited to be here with you. But I wore this in spirit because whenever Brent and I play, and Matthew, we play for shirts, and this is probably one of the only shirts I won off of him probably in 2023. So I'm really excited to be here. I have a message for you guys today, and we've got a good group on here, over 50 people. Some of you are not going to like my message. Some of you are going to really resonate with the message, and it just depends on where you take the message, where you're at in your journey of where the message hits. Does it hit in your belly? Does it hit in your chest? Does it hit you in the forehead? Like, what was that? Right? But I want you to listen to the message today, not be offended by it. Brent asked me to run this call, and he goes, just be Randy. Just bring the heat, bring energy, bring enthusiasm. Not going to beat on the desk like Brent does. I might actually. I do that. But what I want to talk to you about today, and I made some copious notes for this. So I'm going to turn it around, put it on my screen so I can see it. And I want to walk you through this journey of something that was very impactful for me. A lot of you know that I am an agent attraction coach. I'm a coach for production as well, but it's not my passion. I've moved away from that. And I've coached now 20,000 hours between production with Tom Ferry and now in my own coaching practice since 2020. I've got a lot of hours. I've got a lot of one-on-one time with people. I've done a lot of needs analysis. We're dealing with leaders here. This call is full of rock stars. Literally, it's the 1% club. You guys are 1% of a company. You're probably 1/50th of 1% of a company of 90,000 agents, honestly. And so what I'm going to talk about today is winning. And when I say winning, it gives me goosebumps because I'm very competitive and there's a lot of misunderstandings about winning. Right? Please don't text me about rooms and all this when I'm talking. Just if you wouldn't mind, just save it for the end. It gets distracting in the chat. If you want to say, Randy's on point, this is amazing, I love my life, I'm okay with all that stuff. But just for a few minutes, just 15 minutes, just bear with me. Because this is a big deal. Winning, what is winning to you? Don't say it out loud, but think about it for a minute. What is winning to you? Is it looking proud in front of your children as they see you as a model parent or a model citizen or a peace officer or a community support, whatever it is, right? But let me talk to you about winning and what they don't tell you. Winning knows you. Winning is you. Winning knows what you hide. This is literally giving me goosebumps, people, because at the end of the day, we're all struggling with what this journey is of both EXP and opportunity and all the things, right? But winning knows what you hide. Winning knows what you don't like. That's where the drunk monkey and things may come in. Winning knows your secrets. So when you start winning a little bit, you start having PTSD or you're having traumatic from past experiences. It knows your secrets. It knows your failures. It knows what you've done wrong. It knows if you've been divorced, and that just comes up as something as an inefficiency in you. It knows your secrets. Winning knows you better than you do. Winning knows all. When you have something to hide, when you have something in the closet, winning knows. Winning knows your triggers. It knows that you lie. It knows you lie to yourself. You lie to others. And many lie without saying a word. Many lie without saying a word. They tell their family, they tell their friends, they tell their people they're doing it, but they're lying. They're lying to themselves. They're lying to the people they love. And so what's there? What is behind this, right? And your actions speak louder than your words. right? The world knows, winning knows. Here's the truth. We are all born winners. We have it innately in our makeup, our DNA. It comes from our fight or flight. We have to win or be eaten. If you look at the 200,000-year-old evolutional mind, it had one really goal. It was to eat and live, right? You were eaten or being eaten. You were eating or being eaten. So if we were all born winners, what does this look like? So for me, it's the path. It's the path. It's the discipline you take to get there. It's what separates the winners from the rest. And I've already assumed everybody on this call are winners. So I'm probably not speaking to you directly. But I want you to reach in your belly for a minute and think about this as what separates winners from the rest. What separates you from Brent? What separates you from being the number one person in your market, in your territory, in your company, in your life? And when I look at this, what separates winners from the rest is everyone wants the end result. They want to be on stage. They want confetti raining down. They want the roar of the crowd. They want to be seen as a winner. And I don't know about you, but I literally am getting goosebumps as I say these words because I can internalize that, what that looks like. It's not egotistical. Winning is a right you have in your world. Right? So as we look at this journey, this opportunity that's been given to us, it's almost an obligation we have, right? And I love it, Jim. That's what I want. I am a winner. But sadly, you're still speaking to me. I hope that was to everyone. Yes, it was. I hope that was not a private message and I just read it out loud. I've done that before. I appreciate that, though, because winners win, but winners find a way to win. Winners are gritty. Winners are, you don't quit, right? The only way to fail in this business is to quit. It's the only way. It might take you more time than you want, but there is no possible way to fail unless you choose to quit. And if you choose to quit, it's usually because you have a lack of belief that you can do it. You have that shit in the closet that's coming up. Oh, my mom and dad were mean to me, or I lost a brother when I was little, or I was adopted, and just a million things could be your story, but they're not your story. They're not your identity. They're just not. Winning is available to you. And so it really comes down to, for me, when I was looking at this, and I kind of went a couple different ways I wanted to go with this. And I thought, you know what, this is, if I had to summarize and kind of put all my coaching into a basket and try to pick out a couple things that would be impactful for you today on this call, on this 1% call, on the call that is the leaders among leaders, right? The leaders among men, the leaders among women. It would be this. It would be the difficulties it takes to be a winner, because it does. It takes sacrifice. It takes challenges. It takes excellence. It takes grit, determination. It takes all those things. And it's easier to listen to your story and say, this is just not for me. I've never been a recruiter. I've never been a top producer. I like where my business and my life is now. Horse pucky, right? That is a way for us to satisfy that voice in our head that we're not a winner, that we're not capable, we're not deserving. And so when I speak to this to you, I'm not speaking at you. Hopefully I'm speaking through you and with you. Right? This is the leaders of our company. This is the leaders of really a movement, a disruptive movement that is changing the industry. And so when you reach out to people, are you looking for an objection that then puts you into a place of your story and your past and your hangups and your fears and your lies. And we all have them. We all have that one thing that we don't want to share on this. Right? We might have a box of them. I know I do. I have a box of them, right? And I get to use them for growth. I get to use them through my personal growth journey. And being coaching, getting into coaching was the greatest thing I ever did for me, right? I didn't do it for others. I did it for me. I did it to save my life. Many of you know the story. I lost 3 people very close to me to suicide, a good friend, my younger brother, and my ex-wife. And I tell you that not to have pity for me. I tell you that so you understand my journey. I dug deep. I dug in. I opened the closet door. I pulled all the shit out of the closet, threw it on the floor, and said, we're going to figure this thing out because it's worth it. It's worth it to me. It's worth it to my kids. It's worth it to my family. I'm going to be a winner. I'm going to be a winner number 1 for my kids. And I was a champion for my kids. But that comes at a price. It comes at a price of having to acknowledge that you are human, that acknowledge you are flawed, acknowledge this. And then you can dig into that stuff and benefit from it. Why do I tell you this? Because I'm acting like I'm talking to just one of you right now. Even though I'm looking at all of you, I'm talking to one of you. And I'm asking you to show up as a winner. You're rightfully so. You're in the right place with the right people. You've got all the tools in front of you and with you and aside you. Take advantage of that and be the winner that you're capable of. And just identify those things that are holding you back. Identify the things that are getting in your way. Is it fear of rejection? Because if you've been rejected by a partner, rejected by a parent, rejected by a group of friends, rejected by a certain clique in school, whatever it is, that stays with you, by the way. That stays with you. I remember many of the rejections through my life, right? And so those things can either define you or they could set you free. And you can't hold anything against me because I have it out on the floor now. It's out of the closet. It's laying in the floor, and it doesn't bother me. It still may be uncomfortable to talk about a couple of those things. I had a troll the other day on social media that brought something that happened like 15 years ago in a bankruptcy that I had, and it immediately brought all this stuff up. Who is this? I got mad at them. And then I realized, wow, wasn't that a great opportunity for perspective that they triggered me? They triggered me. They triggered me on my past. They triggered me on something that was important to me that I felt was kind of secret. And they know, and they knew. And you know what? I just deleted them. I didn't respond. I Googled them for 3 or 4 minutes, wanting to kill them. But other than that, it was normal reaction, you know? But the reality is, as you grow in elevation in your careers, as you start winning and you start standing at the top of the pedestal and you're collecting that first place trophy, you just become a bigger and bigger target. And the more you win, the bigger target you'll become. And you have to be okay with this. And I listen to Joe Rogan and Ed Milet and all these massive speakers that have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of loving people that love them. They have their share of haters. And they've had to go through this journey on their own as well. So what I want to do now is I'd like to, number one, I want to look at comments now. And I'm sorry I snapped at you early if I did. You could put anything you like in there now. But it's important to me that to have your attention during this time for you to find value in this, to move past some of those things that have been maybe getting in your way. And you could really be in a place of winning at the highest level. To me, it's God, family, business, right? I want to be winning with God. I want to do the right things with God, and I want to win in His word and His shadow. And I want to win with my family. I want my boys to look up to me at a point that it's like, I am winning. I am being a dad that they are proud to have, and a grandsons and all these other things, daughters and sons and all that we have. And then in business. And I don't get that out of whack, right? I focus on that. But for what I want to do today with you now is I want to walk through that and I want to open it up. And you talk about what winning means to you. And more importantly, and if you want to profess something that you're going to work on to be better, something that's totally up to you. I'm not going to encourage any privacy This is about you and me right now, right? We got 68 people on the call, but it's you and me. I want you to come to that place to where you can identify some of this stuff that might be holding you back and get in a position and a posture of winning and what that winning at a very high level looks like. I'm going to open it up so we can have a little dialogue around this and share a little bit and really get excited, right? Excites me to live at a higher level, to empower people around me, to be empowered and inspired by people. That is the gift. So hopefully you'll play along with me today. We've got about 12 minutes left. I'd like to do this, and I'm seeing some great comments. I'm going to repeat some of them as I go. But listen, this is really something I think could be very impactful to you. So open it up. Anybody want to take any comments, any takeaways from this, anything that was an aha for you? Otherwise, Frederic.
I had a huge aha because I've been really working on my mindset, because winning for me always meant to be perfect. Sorry, I'm a little emotional and you all have to live with it, but apparently Randy's better at holding his emotions, so I'm working on that. But
no, you're doing amazing. We appreciate you. I
really struggle with not being perfect, and then I get into the spiral of my expectations are starting to be too high, and then I fall down in failure every time. So really working on that mindset, and just I feel I've identified winning for so long on what it means to a large group of people, which means you're better than everybody else and you're perfect. And I love this, and the takeaway for me is to figure out what just winning means just for me.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. That is so impactful. And winning, when it's thought of incorrectly, it's about other people, right? Winning is acceptance and being acknowledged and all those things. When you win in closed doors, when you win in your soul, when you see you're winning with your family and your children and your grandkids and all these things, you are winning. And I just applaud you, Frederic. That's very brave of you. I love you. You're an amazing human being. And I think you're going to be even better for it now moving forward. I love it. Rhonda. Yes, ma'am.
So I popped in a little bit late, but I picked up on the tail end of what you said. And this is the second time I've heard that short little message today. And so I have been in this business since 1990. I worked with my mom for 29 years and I retired her in 2019. And my coach, he said, Rhonda, you got to make your calls. You got to make your calls. And I said, yeah, but the big but in the room, I have to get things in order. And I've had all this stuff going on with my personal family and all of these things. And he said, he's sitting there and he's going like this, Right. But I am anxious to see the replay on this, but I appreciate, and that's a sign from God to me that I need to get my butt in gear.
Twice today, B-U-T-T.
2 times today. So
B-U-T-T, twice,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I think it helps others hearing that as well. I really appreciate you for sharing that. Joanne. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Winning for me has always been, I guess, my thing, and it's not different from anybody else's, but it's in my own head. And I guess for real estate, it was COVID. I had 2 successful businesses that were hugely impacted by it. Mm-hmm. And I needed to pivot. And when I mentioned real estate to my family and friends, everybody said, don't do it. You're crazy. And a win for me was when I became one of the top sellers here in Halifax. Like, that was my win, right? And I did it right out the gate. 6 weeks after starting, I dropped my businesses. So I knew I could do it, and I just keep knowing it, and I have to keep kicking my butt. So every time I kick my butt and get myself over a hump and say, okay, I haven't tried this. So this year's butt is doing a development, and that's my thing next. So
love it, Joanne. Thanks for sharing. And listen, there's so much that we can continue to grow from and grow on. And winning is usually tied to acknowledgement. I'm ultra competitive. I mean, Brent and I will bet on who's going to wear the brightest shoes. Yeah, it's just everything's competitive with him and I, and I love that. But also, he's the kindest, gentlest human being I've ever met, and the most giving. So there's this balance of to me, it's like admiration. That's who I want to be when I grow up, you know? And so a lot of us love Brent for the same reasons, but he's got such a competitive spirit. He's number one in the company, but you never know it. Matter of fact, he downplays it so often when we're talking to people. I'm the one that's like, he's number one in the company. He's like, hey, I'm just a regular guy. You know, how can I help you? So I love the message, Joanne. Thank you for that. Barton.
Hey, everybody. First
Hey,
and
good to see you.
foremost, super intensely grateful to be with everybody in this room. It's just the like-mindedness, the caring, the compassion for each other. The support is phenomenal. I'm feeling that. So thank you for that. My takeaway really quick is just this awesome phrase. Oh my God. What's the big butt in the room? Transplant what with who's the biggest butt in the room? I just love that. And laughing at myself, I think is joyful. So I say that, you know, what's the biggest butt in the room? And I think it's me. It's kind of like brings me a sense of humor and grounds me in the fact, like, I got this, I can get right back to it. Getting right back to it is my big issue, Randy. And this is, I see the end and I just go play. I live the quality of life right now so high that I tend to not do the daily steps. And it's a struggle for me to step back into the daily actions. And that's why I'm so grateful for Attract Boss and connecting with everybody in these rooms.
I appreciate that. May I coach you for a minute? It's okay to say no.
Bring it. I'm in. So,
and this may help other people on the calls why I asked, Barton. You've reached your mountaintop. You've reached a pinnacle of success and a mountain, right? You have 1,000 people in your organization. You've reached some milestones that what I would consider your Everest. What you got to look at, what's your next mountain, right? What's the next iteration of your mountain? Not everybody else's and not what they think you should do, but you. What is going to fill your tank on the next mountain? Is it servitude? Is it goodwill? Is it more money? Is it scaling? Is it buying family properties where everybody could live on one property? Whatever it is for you, I'd really focus on that and find that next mountain for you. That will be the driving force for motivation, inspiration, perspiration. And right now, you're happy. You're content on this mountain.
Yeah.
But is that your destiny? Is that your legacy?
No, sir.
I say there's more.
I say there's more. Amen. Awesome. Thank you. Tune in next week, folks.
Thanks, Barton. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. Drew, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm doing really good, brother.
Good to see you.
Well, hey, so I apologize to everyone for missing last week. I tend to come in with a quote for the day, for the week that I try and, get just for this group. And so I feel like this one does pretty well for what you're getting across.
Thank you.
All right. So the quote is, forgive your younger self, believe in your current self, and create your future self.
Oh, that's perfectly timed.
Right. But I want everyone to, in that order, right? Because what you have to realize, and this is really it goes with what Randy's talking about too, of getting those skeletons out of your closet as well, right? You cannot create your future self without forgiving your past self.
That's so good.
Usually it tends to be that big butt in the room comes from insecurities, comes from things that you have not addressed, that you have not looked at. Right. So as Randy was
and you may not be aware of it, right? But the more you focus on it, it will expand into clarity.
Exactly. So hope it help. I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you, Drew. Appreciate that. Brad. Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Love you too, man. Brad. Yes, sir.
Braden, yeah, thanks, Randy. That was fantastic and good quote, Drew. Couple things. Drew's already heard me talk about what's in here that keeps me. But you said everybody's a winner, and I used to think, whatever, everybody's a winner. But the more, and I was a pastor for 12 years. Before that, I was a cancer researcher doing artificial neural networks years ago. But anyway, the more I've come to realize is that every person is made in the image of God, and therefore they have a gift to give. And that's another way to articulate the winning and using and deploying that gift. And I, it's one of those things that I'm sales, great. I've sold a home a week for 7 years. I've been in real estate for 7 years. I've sold a home a week. But revenue or attraction, which I absolutely love. I'm a win others over in strength finders. I suck at it. I absolutely suck at it. And that's part of what my problem is. And I'm just not even, I'm like, I'm ready. I'm in the inner circle Brent thing this year to try and get over this. And
I know a little bit
it's a
about
log
this
jam.
area, Brad. Do you mind
Yeah.
if I coach you a little bit on
Please.
this?
I love it.
So, Brad, let me ask you, if you had a listing appointment, what's your average sales price?
300-ish.
So if you had a $750,000 listing, $1 million listing in like an hour, could you nail it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable with that.
Look back at the beginning of your journey in real estate and what you had to do to learn, who you had to shadow, who'd you have to ask? What does this Form 17C stand for? It sounds stupid in hindsight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that was your journey of learning. You've perfected that over the years. A home a week, you said, for like 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
You're an expert real estate salesperson. I would put you in an expert category. And you've just been born to start recruiting now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to give it that same level of acknowledgement, of training, of hard work, of asking questions, of discipline, of screwing up, and understand it's completely different. It's like a new trade that you have to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can embrace the journey in that, if you can embrace the activity rather than the results of winning right now, because you high performers I coach people with 1,000 transactions a year. Like I coach some high performers without exception. They go, I can do that. I'm going to be the fastest recruiter on the planet. And then they don't, because it's different. And they're looking at it from a place of scale of selling hundreds and hundreds of houses. Take it back to the smallest denominator. This works for a lot of you. And just focus on the baby steps. Focus on learning and enjoying the journey. And then the best practices of Brent and me and all these other amazing leaders that have done it before you. But don't try to get in front of it. It will happen over time. And the good thing is you don't have to sell a house every week. You have to list an agent once, and then you have partnerships for life.
Yeah, love it.
I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet, Brad. Thank you for, hopefully that helps. Pam, you're the lucky last hand up. Appreciate you. What takeaways or what'd you get from that?
I love you, Randy. Number one, I think
Michael,
the topic today
too.
was fantastic. And I just wanted to share that the big realization after all the years I've been in this industry and anything else that I've ever done, my whole thing is where I feel like I'm winning is when I can, I had those dreams of standing on stage with the confetti running down and all that kind of stuff. But the biggest part when I feel like I win is when I pass that torch on to somebody else and see them on stage. And I get emotional about that. So when it comes time I look around the room here and I'm seeing all the people in the room that I've now had the time to spend time with around this call. And I'm watching them all grow to the point where they're going to be on stage, not because of the fact that they were this, whatever. It's a fact of what they've done for growth. And that's what you're talking about, is that personal growth that it takes. And Drew and Brad, I want to tell you, my whole purpose and why I'm with Agent Attraction is to make a difference in people's lives, whether it be, even if I had to go do some production somewhere along the way, it's touching somebody else's life. That's not what I've done most of my life, is just worked on what impact can I have on somebody else. So I get emotional when you talk about these things. I got goosebumps throughout your whole conversation there, because there is people on this call right now that needed to hear that in a deep, deep spot of their life. A deep spot of their life that they have not healed yet on, that this one call right here is going to make that major difference. But really what it comes down to is don't just be on this one call. Get around as many of these winners on this call. Get around the Randy Birds, the Matthew Stewarts, the Clark Brooms, get around Courtney. Courtney, I just love you, girl. You're just tearing it up out there. I just think you got to get around the people and live, help each other. That's what it comes down to. Amen. So Brad, you're right. Being a pastor, you know what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Pam. I appreciate that. I want to honor everybody's time. I know, Rob, I think we've got another production thing in 10 or 15. Is that correct today?
2:10, we have our sales meeting
2:10.
call.
So
yes, and we have an amazing speaker. So you're welcome to stick around or make some calls and invite some people.
Thank you. So in closing, just go back maybe and listen to this recording and take time alone, quiet time, nothing on, no electronics, and just write down some things that come up for you. And what does it look like for you to win, and winning in all areas of your life, God, family, business, in that order? What does winning look like for you? And then live into that life knowing that you're winning, because there is nobody else to judge you but you, right? I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for allowing me to be here, Brent and Rob, and everybody else. We had a good crew on here, 70 people today. That's pretty amazing.